Have you thought about the possibility of selling your home at the same time you buy a new home so that you can wrap it all into one package and move straight from the home you're in to the home you're going to be in? Well, there are pros and cons to that, and that's what this video is about. So come along for the ride. There are a lot of good reasons why you might want to buy a place and sell your place at the same time. Here are a few of them. First, and this is the most important reason for most people, you don't have to live in someplace else. You don't have to move twice. You can move straight from your house to the other house without any in-between stuff. You don't have to put your stuff in storage. You don't have to move into a hotel. You don't have to move into a short-term rental. And that is the reason most people tell me they want to buy a house and sell their house at the same time. So that's one of the biggest advantages. Another advantage is if you buy your house, this is advantage number 2, if you buy your house and sell your house at the same time, you're going to not have to pay a mortgage on both places at once. If you can afford to do that, that's one thing, but most people don't want to buy and pay 2 mortgages at the same time. So that's another big advantage. A third one is you can shop for a house while you're living in your own home. Shop and take your time until you find just the right one. And when you find the right one, then you put your house on the market and you make an offer on the other house all at the same time, same day or two, right close together. You better be ready. And then you pull off both deals at once, hopefully. When you buy and sell at the same time, you hope to do what we call a simultaneous closing. That's where you actually close in your own home and close on the new home at the same time. Actually, not exactly the same time, but really the same day or the same 2 days, no farther apart than that. And we call that a simultaneous closing. And it allows you to move straight from your house to your new house without doing anything in between. And that's a definite advantage, there's no question about that. And that's the main reason people want to do it. There's a few other advantages. If you're not local, so you're not shopping for a home while you're sitting in your own home, but you actually live out of state or live in a different town and you're moving to another area, so you're not living in the same place where you're going to buy, there's still an advantage. And the advantage is when you move to your new place, you're going to have a place to live. You're not going to have to move into a rental. You're not going to have to move into a hotel. You're not going to have to live in your car or tent. I've had people live in tents until they were able to move into their house. So hopefully that won't be you. You move straight into your house. That's another big advantage, even if you're moving from out of state or out of town. But there are disadvantages too. And here they are. And usually I tell people something like this when I first meet with them to talk about the idea of buying a house and selling their house and doing it both at once. And that is, it's very stressful. And it's so stressful that usually one of them is going to be crying on the phone when I talk to them, and maybe the other one's going to be screaming at me at some point in the transaction, or sometimes it's the same person doing both, sometimes at the same time. But so it's very stressful because you're trying to hold 2 deals together. And let's imagine here, let's just think about the possibilities, okay? One of the possibilities, let's say you make an offer on a house, your offer is accepted, and it's contingent on the sale of your other house. And so you put your other house on the market, and you get an offer on that one, and you accept it. So now you have contracts on 2 places at once. And you're moving through the process, and you're only a week before closing, and the buyer of your house says, we decided we're moving to California, or for some reason we're not buying. What happens? Both deals fall apart. Or sometimes you qualify for the one, but in that case you still own the other one. Or let's say you decide you don't want to buy the house you're moving into. That's another disadvantage. You don't want to buy the house you're moving into last minute because you find out something about it, or something about the neighborhood or something that causes you to say, yikes, we don't want to buy this house now that we found this out, and it's only a week before closing, but you're still under contract of the first house. Wow. Most cases, your buyer of that first house would not have accepted an offer that allowed you to back out of it, so you've got to sell it. And now you are in that same position you were hoping to avoid, and that is you're going to move out of your house somewhere, and you only have a week to do it. You can imagine the stress, and you can imagine the phone calls that I will get when that happens. So that's a definite disadvantage. There's another one, and that is this. In almost any market, but especially in the market we're in now, where it's the seller's market, when you make an offer on a house that's on the market, and it's contingent on the sale of your house, the seller of the house that you made the offer on is going to look at your offer with a jaundiced eye to some extent. You're going to have to make a really good offer. Usually you're going to have to offer them at least their asking price, if not more. In fact, a lot of times in this market, we're in a seller's market, even if you didn't have a contingency on the sale of your house, you still would have to make an offer at least full price, if not more. We're selling, I don't know, I haven't watched them, but I would guess right now about half our houses are selling for more than the asking price. That's right now, as of today, mid-October. But if you have a contingency, you're definitely going to have to make a better offer than other people in order to convince that seller that he should take your offer, even though it's contingent on the sale of your house. So that's a definite disadvantage. So you might end up, chances are, you're gonna pay more for the house you're buying than you would have otherwise, because you have to give the seller incentive to buy your house. Now let's look at the other end of the deal. Now you got to sell your house. You want it sold because you want to buy this house. So a buyer comes along and he makes you an offer that isn't as good as you would have hoped. Maybe it's $10,000 under, but hey, it's an offer, and you want to buy this other house, but you have to sell your house first. There's a good chance you're going to take a lower price on the house you sell than you would otherwise if you didn't have to sell it, if you weren't in a stressful situation. So you can see there's some pretty heavy-duty disadvantages, and one of them is financial. Almost always, you will end up paying more for the house you buy and selling your house for a little bit less, maybe a lot less, than you would have normally if you're doing a contingent deal. And here, I already alluded to this one, the stress of keeping two transactions together at the same time, and the ramifications if one of them falls apart, either one, are much larger than they would be otherwise. So the stress involved is pretty intense. For that reason, you might consider the other options, and I can go into these other options later. But you know what? Nevertheless, we do these all the time. We do them all the time. We do contingent deals all the time. And once in a while, although not lately because our market basically is against it, but occasionally we'll have a triple domino where you'll be buying a house and you're selling your house, and the buyer of your house is selling their house. Oh my goodness. You have to keep 3 deals together now. And one deal you have no control over whatsoever. You're just hoping it closes, because if it doesn't close, all of your deals fall apart. Think about that. All right, we'll go into more details on other possibilities later. And if you have any questions about this situation, there are, I just hit the high points or the low points, whichever side you're looking at. But there are definitely more points to this. And if you'd like to ask them, feel free to leave your comments down below here, and we can carry on a conversation about them. Or I might make another video if you bring up enough interesting points that we need to cover. Talk to you later. Just give us a call here at Valley Market Real Estate. We have experienced licensees, experienced realtors here at the office, and I tell you, most of them are born and raised right here in the Palmer-Wasilla area, and so they know this area really well. Talk to you later.